All right, welcome into another edition of the 2025 MLB Draft Spotlight Show. 2025 representative, Happy New Year's, Mr. Tyler Bremner, UC Santa Barbara. We are recording this on the morning of New Year's Day, and we're both quite tired. How are you, brother? How's life?
Doing well, man. Like you said, a little tired this morning, but I mean, can't complain. Been back in SD for winter break and everything's going well, man. So thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Yeah. So the Pride of San Diego, Tyler, I want to use kind of the first couple of minutes here for you to introduce yourself. Like, who is Tyler Bremner on the field? How do you operate on the mound? How do you like to attack hitters? But I think more importantly for the viewers and the listeners, like, what are you about off the field? Hobbies,
Yeah,
passions, how you like to spend your weekends on the off season?
sure, man. Well, I've been playing baseball, my whole life. I kind of tried all the sports out when I was younger, but really just stuck with baseball. It was kind of just a social thing for me, honestly, for a while. Played with the same travel team for 10 years when I was younger, and I really just stuck with that because I liked the guys. It kept me busy, kept me occupied. So that's why I stuck with baseball. But yeah, I guess it never really took off for me personally until I'd say my summer going into my senior year of high school. I switched over to CBA and had a good summer there and kind of got to I guess showcase what I can do on the mound to more people and got some recognition there. And then it kind of just hasn't slowed down. I've been throwing well. I went to SB obviously and turned down some draft opportunities out of high school because I just really thought SB was a good fit for me with check-its and the pitching development and just the location and everything. I mean, it's a perfect spot for me being a West Coast guy and kind of being comfortable being on the West Coast and been throwing well there. And I got no complaints about school up there either. So, yeah, that's kind of my baseball history. I mean, off the field, I'm definitely a more laid back guy. I hang out with the same like small friend group back in SD that I have. Like it's kind of like three or four guys I've been friends with for a while. But yeah, a lot of the guys I'm surrounded with off the field, back at home at least, are not athletes. So it's kind of just like living a normal life. I get my lifts in and my throwing in on my own. But yeah, my social life's pretty separate from the baseball field, I'd say.
What does your social life look like? Is it I mean, listen, I'm gonna pull the Southern California cliches. Is it
Yeah.
is it surfing? Is it art? Like, is it longboarding? Like, what's your thing down there, man?
I don't surf or do anything like that. I never have. I mean, I just enjoy like nature, being out there, getting to the beach, getting on hikes. Like I enjoy that kind of stuff. That's what I like about SB a lot too, is because you have all that still right there. But no, I've been getting into guitar recently. That's been
Hmm.
something that I've been spending a lot of time with. I'm trying to go actually to the guitar store before I leave here and get like a nice guitar because I've kind of just been using like an average one for a little bit. But yeah, I've been playing for 9 months now. I feel like it almost like kind of got me out of like a tough spot mentally. And like it's just been like almost therapeutic for me. And I've really enjoyed like trying to learn stuff. It's definitely a frustrating thing and you need to like put a lot of time into it, but it's also really rewarding when you kind of like feel yourself getting better at it and teaching yourself stuff. So that's been something I've personally been enjoying.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Um, so the reason I'm excited to talk to you, there are guys that have always been stars. You know, like a guy like Dylan Cruz was a first round pick in high school as a sophomore, junior, senior. Pole to pole.
Yeah.
I think your case is particularly interesting because as a high school junior, you're 6'2", 158 pounds. You
Yeah.
get up to like 165 as a senior. And then you're like your quintessential scouting. Like you put on weight, the stuff explodes. Can you kind of talk me through your baseball journey as it pertains to being a late bloomer and seeing
Yeah.
your stuff really take off with Coach Checkits?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it is interesting because I don't come from a athletic family either. Like none of I have two sisters and none of them really play sports. My dad played some sports in high school, but you see a lot of these guys who are like first rounders or big recruits kind of being from that kind of world, having dads that played pro ball and stuff like that and just kind of being or playing USA as a kid, that's not something I did until recently. So, um, yeah, I think I think honestly, like I've always been talented, I've always been like a good arm, but it really just took for me to maybe get the kind of routines and stuff that I've gotten into at the college level and kind of get more eyes on me. Because I will say that I've been very self-taught as well. Like I didn't really have a pitching guy I went to back home. I, I only started going to a guy recently over this break actually. So yeah, I've kind of just been like teaching my stuff or teaching myself stuff through like feel and through just reps. But I feel like once I got to the college level, like they put me on a weight program, they put me on eating program, and they just like set a lot of routines that I didn't have before in high school. Like they give you a specific throwing program, specific post throw times you have to be at the field to lift. It's just structure that I really didn't have before, and I
Mm.
feel like that's been a big part of my success. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my baseball journey. Like you said, it hasn't really taken off till recently. I mean, I had a good year last year, and that's kind of where all this like buzz around my name has come from, which I'm really appreciative. But also, being a West Coast guy, it's really different than being an East Coast guy. Like, even now, I mean, I'm one of the bigger recruits, one of the bigger names in my class right now, and like I'm not, like you're not getting that recognition going to SB as opposed to being like the guy at Georgia or something. So it's definitely a different lifestyle. I kind of live like a normal lifestyle out in SB. Like you wouldn't expect for me to kind of be an athlete over there, but I mean that's just kind of how it goes with how everyone's liking SEC ball based on Big West ball. It's definitely a different culture. So.
Is it stunning to you? I mean, is it weird to find your name being plastered on draft boards and talked about? Like,
Um,
is it a surprise?
it's not a surprise necessarily, but it's cool to see. But in a way, you kind of have to put that in the back of your mind, because you're so far from the actual goal, getting drafted. Then I mean, after that, after draft day, like you still got more to go. That's not the end goal. You want to play pro ball for a while, so um, yeah, it's cool to see, but you kind of just got to keep your head down. You gotta get ready for this season coming up. That's huge. Obviously, your draft year season, so um, yeah, you kind of take it with a grain of salt. You're like, oh, that's cool, and then you move on. It's you can't dive in too much to those lists and those numbers.
Sure. As a kid that was throwing 89, touched 92, high school junior, are you stunned that you can touch 99?
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yes.
simply put, yes. Like sometimes, because I mean, my like body type, like I'd still consider myself pretty skinny and like ways to go with that aspect of it. Like I could definitely put on some more weight and put on some more muscle. And you kind of see guys who do throw really hard, at least some of them being just like big dudes, like who generate a lot of power, a lot of force. So the way I kind of generate energy is definitely different than those guys. And sometimes I do look in the mirror or whatever, and I'm like, it's crazy that I can do that. But yeah, I just credit it to like just persistence, like reps over time. I mean, I've been throwing a ball like 5 days a week, probably at least for like 15 years. So, you just get better at it the more you do it. So,
Does it feel like there's more in the tank? I mean, do you feel like you've stretched your limits?
I mean, I feel like there's more. It's hard to tell because you never really know what that limit is, because you just keep going. But I've never like plateaued. I've just like I've been gaining probably yeah, I'd say probably 2 to 3 miles an hour for like I'd say like 5 6 years now, like pretty consistently. Like you're 89, like you said, 89 82 in high school, and then you get to college and you're touching 95. Then you're sophomore, you're touching 98. It kind of just keeps going up. But I mean, I guess we'll see where the limits are.
Yeah. One you mentioned the Georgias, the SECs of the world. I
Mhm.
want to ask you this question because you're in a very unique time and space as it
Mhm.
pertains to college athletics. NIL, the transfer portal,
Mhm.
it's a huge thing. Is
Mhm.
that something that you ever had to wrap your head around this summer?
Yeah,
Overtures?
I mean, um, I guess I didn't really understand the gravity of it honestly until I went to USA, and you kind of get to meet those guys because playing in the Big West, you really don't play too many of those big name guys. I mean, I've seen a lot of those guys play, obviously, on TV and stuff, but I never really have been like face to face, got to talk to them. But yeah, that experience was definitely kind of eye opening to that whole thing. Obviously, you hear guys talk about transferring and talk about NIL and what kind of stuff's going on, but I think at the end of the day, I mean, um, it was just like UCSB's put a lot of work into me. Like they recruited me at a young age when I was a freshman in high school. They saw a lot of potential in me, one, I'm just trying to like give back that energy to them because they deserve that, and two, I just love it at SB. Like it's a great spot. I love the guys there. I love the location. I love the team. I also am in a good spot. Obviously, I'm in a good starting role there, and I'm going to be able to have the opportunity to kind of lead a staff there. That's not something I really would have got if I transferred. Going to a big school, like maybe I would have still thrown well and like been a dude at a big school, but transferring in, and there's a bunch of guys who have been in that program for years and been in that program and just grinded through all the ranks and grinded their way into the pitching staff. It's a definitely different environment when you kind of just transfer in and you're like, hey, like I'm supposed to be the dude now. You're not going to get that same bond that you're going to get at the staff I'm at right now with guys who I've been with for years already. So it was really just a comfortable thing, and I mean I can't be happier with how I stayed. Obviously, I haven't thrown in the fall, and it's been kind of hard to just like let the other guys take the reins for a little. But I'm so excited to get back there and throw in the winter and get season going. So
Yeah. One thing that I found very interesting watching you last season was you bounced around a little bit. You started off throwing 100 pitches, and then you bounced into like a multi-inning relief
yeah,
role, and then you got ramped back up. I'm
yeah.
curious what sort of perspective that gave you over the course of a season and maybe what you gained out of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's taught me a lot about the different roles, being in the pitching staff. And I think the reason that really happened is because Hudson Barrett went down. So he was kind of our main guy out of the pen. He was obviously really good for us freshman year, and he was kind of going to have that role again. But when he went down, it was really just like checks came up to me. I was like, hey, like, not really a knock on you, but we really need someone to fill that role. And I know you can be good for us there. So, I'm just trying to help the team in any way I can. And I did like that role in a sense of competitiveness. I feel like it taught me a lot about how to compete, how to be mentally tough, how to throw in a one-run game in the ninth and on Friday, and then do it again against the same guy on Sunday. Like it taught me a lot about how to compete at a high level. But at the end of the day, the starting role is definitely what you want. I mean, it's way better just in terms of like the work you can get done and the routines you can get into. You get to start, then you get your days off, you get to hit a heavy lift because you're not going to throw. It's definitely a different routine when you're say a closer, long relief, because you don't really know when you're going to throw. Like, and
Right.
the reality of it, I had to be hot 4 days out of the week, so you're just kind of trying to stay afloat, But I liked both, but yeah, like I said, the routines is kind of the reason you want to be a starter at the end of the day.
Yeah, makes sense. As you have gone through this fall and this winter, obviously your workload was limited a bit in the fall.
Mhm.
What are you working on, man? The changeup is obviously dynamic. I'm wondering, are you working on the fastball shape? Are you working on the sweeper? Like, do you have a goal as February, whatever, February 18th comes around?
Yeah, I mean, something I've been working on actually back here with the pitching guy I'm with right now is just trying to get ride on that fastball, consistent ride, and I feel like a lot of that's in like direction towards the plate and kind of like back leg stability. But I feel like that's the main thing I'm really working on. I just like kind of start, or I've been throwing off the mound for a couple weeks, but I haven't. I took a lot of time off, so I'm kind of just getting back into it now. So yeah, nothing like I'm not adding a new pitch, anything crazy. It's really just getting the arm ready and getting the body ready for a long season. So
Yeah. I think Tyler, you have gone through such an interesting track in amateur baseball over the last 4 or 5 years. Is there a moment or a period in time that provided you a little bit more adversity than any other time? Something that you had to fight through to get to where you're at?
um that's a good question. I think a lot of the adversity I've personally had is off the field stuff. I mean, I've found myself like pretty successful in the baseball world for the most part. Obviously, you're gonna have your ups and downs, but for the most part, I've had a pretty successful pitching career. But yeah, off the field, I mean, I've definitely had stuff. I think last year was a really hard season for me mentally, just trying to balance the off the field life with the kind of the pressures of the pitching, because um, a big thing for me is my mom. I'm just trying to pitch for her a lot of the time as she's going through breast cancer right now, and she's been on and off chemo for 5 years now. So it's been hard to kind of deal with that and deal with pitching. But honestly, what that's also one of the reasons I stayed in SB, just so I could be close to her and she can come up to the games, because that's important. That's important for me and for my family to be able to do. And she loves watching me pitch. Like she tells me all the time, like it's like one of her biggest joys. So it's sometimes hard, to try and separate the two. But I've found that last year was a big test for that, just trying to um, maybe pitch on days you're not mentally feeling that well, But I feel like pitching has been a good. I found it to be a good escape, Like I found it to kind of just when I get on the field and when I'm pitching, kind of just put all that aside and kind of just like mentally focus on one thing and kind of block out everything else. And it's been important in my life for my mental health, I feel like, as well.
Well, hey man, listen, best wishes to your mom. Cancer sucks, but
Yeah.
she's definitely in everybody's thoughts here.
Thank you.
A couple more questions, get you out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Was there a guy growing up that you particularly liked to watch and model your game after?
I wouldn't say growing up. I mean, I honestly don't watch too much baseball. I'm really into kind of the level I'm at. That's kind of how I've always been. Like, obviously, I like right now. I love watching college. Like, I'll watch all the replays of the games. I'll see my boys pitch on other teams. Like, I love that aspect. But I really don't watch too much pro ball right now, and I'm sure that'll change once I get to the next level. But no, a guy that I really liked watching recently is Rhett Lauder. When he was at Wake Forest, I loved watching him. I mean, that that run they had in Omaha was really cool. I feel like that got me like really into watching baseball for some reason. Like him pitching against Skeens in Omaha, like I loved watching that game, and I watch it back all the time because I mean it's just two great pitchers going at it, and you get to see him compete at a high level. But no, I like seeing him pitch in the Reds too. I mean, I feel like for some reason, I kind of just feel like my stuff is similar to his in a way. He's kind of got that three pitch mix, and he's not really afraid to throw all three to or guys on both sides of the plate. And yeah, that's been a guy that I've liked watching for sure.
You and Rhett have some similarities, at least from like a vibe perspective. I spoke with Rhett last year in this exact same interview,
Yeah,
and you're learning guitar. Rhett last year was actually painting and selling
really.
paintings and learning how to watercolor and things like that. So,
Yeah,
really interesting guy. He pitches like he paints. Works the corners and
exactly.
with
I really
finesse.
like I really like the pitch ability too. I just love watching a guy who can kind of just put all his pitches where he wants. That's kind of what I want. That's what I want to be when I'm out there. So.
Yeah, man, there's less pitchers and more throwers these days, so it's a nice change of pace to see someone like Rhett have so much success. All
100%.
right, Tyler, let's hit you with a couple of questions and get you out of here, man. You did Team USA this year.
Yeah.
That had to have been a huge luxury for you, but I'm sure you went out to dinners with those guys, got to know those guys. Let's say you all go out to a steak dinner, the whole team.
Sure.
Who's the
Sure.
one guy on that team you are not going to trust to order food for the table?
That's an interesting question. Maybe this might be kind of like a random shot at the guy, but maybe like Max Baloo. Like I
Texas
just
boy.
don't. Yeah, I just don't know if I'm trusting him with my order. But nah, I actually really enjoyed that experience, and I really liked. Like I was surprised how like down to earth all those guys are. I thought there might like going into it, there might be a little like ego on the guys who have big like hype around their name, but it was
Sure.
really just like a good it was I don't know, it was really good. All those guys were down to earth, like there was no ego. I was talking to a bunch of pitchers about their pitches and just trying to get information and I was sharing mine, the change up or whatever with those guys. And yeah, I really enjoyed meeting all those guys. I still talk to a lot of them. So
So is Max going to be the guy that orders something crazy, or is he going to be the guy that orders chicken nuggets at a steak dinner?
I think crazy for sure. He might just like throw something in there and everyone's like, I don't know if I'm liking that one, but I don't know. I feel like if he sees that, he's gonna be like, dude, that was a crazy stray, but we'll see.
All right, man. How about this? Let's say you pitch for 20 more years. You pitch until you're 40.
Sure.
What's the one song that you're comfortable walking out to for the next 2 decades? You can't change
Mm,
it.
you can't change it. Maybe
There's
like
a
90210 Travis Scott. I really love a
okay.
Travis Scott song. And I mean, I walked out to one of his songs last year, Hyena.
hmm
So yeah, maybe probably a Travis Scott song for sure. But 90210 is one of those that I really just like don't get old of. So I feel like that's a good answer.
That is a good answer. All right, last question. We end it with this every time. Tyler, Team USA. Who's the one
Mhm.
guy on that roster you're not letting him date your sister?
Definitely Alton Davis. Alton
Alton
Davis.
Davis.
He's just a personality. He like takes over the room when you get in there. But yeah, I don't know if I'd let him date my sister.
Well, hey, listen, Tyler, big fan of you, big fan of your craft. I'm excited to see what the spring has in store, man. Go knock him down, dude. How about a big year?
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate the time. I appreciate it.